first time in a long time, but back like I never left. Taking each day as it comes, you know me, I don't read ahead. Watch me burn down everything, BDE on the TV set. When I'm in control on the road, you could never really know what's up next.
Hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Braden Herrington here with Davie Portman for Up Next. You found us at postwrestling.com and whatever podcast app you are using right now. And it's Tuesday, 10:05 p.m., which means we are
live on youtube.com/postwrestling. Hello, YouTube room. How are we doing?
Hello, YouTube room. Yes, like I said, Tuesday, July 15th, halfway through the best month in the entire calendar, halfway through, and we're celebrating some NXT. We were bashing, we were away for a bash, but we're here to talk about the American Canadian bash. We're going to catch up on all that, but we're going to talk about more. We're going to talk about tonight's NXT and a whole lot. We are your NXT friends. And I know we weren't your NXT friends this past weekend, and I know some of you are probably like, how could you? You're supposed to be the NXT crew. We are, okay? It's just this, what's it called? When something's already planned and then they try to add something after the fact that, you know, we already chose our plans. So like, hey, don't get mad at us, but we're still going to talk about the Great American Bash from this past weekend. And in the future, we might have to make up our minds as wrestling fans on which show you want to watch at what point, because there's certainly going to be a lot more of that.
Yeah, it's going to happen a lot. It's frustrating. We kind of had our rant and said our piece last week about, you know, we're fans of all of this, and you aren't necessarily hurting another company. You're hurting your fans. So yeah, it sucks. And we'll see. I believe it's happening again for Forbidden Door, although Forbidden Door is during the day, I believe, but Heatwave will be that evening. And I think this is just going to keep happening.
I think we'll get it again, and we're just going to have to get used to it again. You know, maybe like 2 different TV shows or sporting events on TV, and sometimes you got to choose what you got to choose, and that's okay. But we're here to talk about all the wrestling because we can be wrestling fans of everything. Yes, I know that might be hard for some people, but you can all get along and enjoy the silliness that is pro wrestling, because oh boy, do we love some pro wrestling. You may have checked us out. We are Braden Davie. We are Up Next, but collectively, we're also known as Poisonrana. So go search Poisonrana Pod in your podcast app or your social media app. Give us a follow, a subscribe, and check out all the content that we just put out this past weekend, because the BDE are back in town. We just got back from our trip to the Big D, the D to the D, the double Ds we hit up this week, and we are back from Dallas from our All In Texas weekend. And quick shout out to anyone we crossed paths with, and to anyone who's checked out some of the content and given us some kind words over the last few weekends. It was a ton of fun and a great and successful and super rewarding weekend for us both. So thank you very much.
Yeah, I loved it. I had an awesome trip. It wasn't without its hiccups for sure, but that's what makes the snap ranas we posted on our Patreon all the more entertaining. But yeah, I loved it. I couldn't speak highly enough about All In itself. You can catch our review of that show immediately after. We was kind of still in the venue, essentially recording our review for that show. You can find that on our Poisonrana free feed. But yeah, what a weekend. I had an absolute blast. So happy with all the interviews we got. If you haven't had a chance to listen to them yet, we got 6 pretty great interviews while we were there with Tony Storm, Carl Fletcher, Mark Briscoe, Will Hobbs, the Hurt Syndicate, and Big Boom AJ, the Costco guy. So they were fun. They're all available on our YouTube if you go to youtube.com/@PoisonRanaPod, and also on our free podcast feed. You can check out our interviews as well.
Absolutely. Yes. We've had so much fun. The boyhood dream has come true. I met the Costco guy, Big Boom AJ, and he was a sweetheart. Our interviews are up on our YouTube. I'll put some up on I don't know, TikTok, Instagram. I'll put them. He's a TikTok influencer. I might as well put Big Boom AJ on our TikTok. So hey, if you use that, go give us a follow on there as well. But yeah, it was a ton of fun going through, seeing people at StarCast, seeing some people throughout the weekend in Dallas. And you know, we do a lot of shows. We did a show called Best Match Ever, Kenny versus Kazuchika. I named that oddly for some reason. KK and Omega Okada. We hyped up our weekend for that show, and we documented our whole time. We got in the JFK like conspiracy mindset with our review, and then we did the tour. So if you do follow us on our Patreon, it's $5 to get access to all the shows that we've ever done for a whole month's access, and it connects to your podcast feed and everything. $5 to get all of the Snap Ranas. And I was gonna make it some of them for free. I was gonna make like some sort of like TV edit cut, you know. But after some deciding, you got to pay to play, and you got to hear what we say. And we can't be edited. So if you really want to hear if Davie Portman tried to rizz up Tekla with some German at a bar in Dallas, you really have to check.
I mean, you pretty much just said the story there. So like, that's not really how you promote stuff that you want people to pay for.
You got to hear what happened. You got to hear what happened with our vlog and we did a video on the grassy knoll in Dallas. We did the JFK tour. We did so much and got up to a whole lot of trouble. So check us out. All the Snap Ranas plus all the other wrestling reviews and movie reviews. It's literally $5. Check us out. You won't be disappointed with some of the content that we got. And hey, if you like free, check out our free feed, because we did just drop our huge all-in review, like you said. And there's tons of we give out freebies once in a while. So yeah, check out a little bit of some Poisonrana and let us know what you think. And again, appreciate all the love out there.
Absolutely. But there is a lot to talk about this week as we were away. WWE throwing not one, not two, but 3 shows. And wow, I mean, where should we start with this?
Do we start in order here? I mean, like we have to start chronologically of where this all went back. I know we usually do our NXT post shows right after every NXT TV show and PLE, but again, it was up against a show that we were attending. So I did feel wrestled out after the long show on Saturday, but I spent the last kind of 2 days going through the other wrestling that I haven't watched. How was it for you? Did you quickly jump?
I'm absolutely fried. I've been working both days since getting back, and then trying to fit in all this wrestling. My room is a complete disaster right now. I still haven't done laundry from our trip, but yeah, I just caught up. I just finished watching Great American Bash, like just before NXT started today, and I think it's interesting. You know, like the you know, what is this reasoning? WWE trying to counter program, and it's to try and take attention away. It's to try to be the conversation. Now, I'd say over the weekend, I did pretty well avoiding spoilers. I'd say the main things that I saw that were being trended over the weekend with WWE was Seth. I'd say the Seth injury, which we'll get into. Goldberg, which we'll get into. And just like the Evolution pay-per-view as a whole, I saw nothing about Great American Bash, which was the main show that was programmed against All In. I haven't seen a thing. Like, and I've been pretty like, I've now just been carelessly like going through Twitter, like not caring, and I've seen nothing. So if the idea was to try and take away attention from AEW over the weekend, I really don't think it did. And I really don't think WWE became the conversation this past weekend.
We've definitely talked about spoilers on the show, and how if it's something that you really, really want to watch, whether it's a movie or wrestling, and you can't be there to watch it live per se, I will try everything in my power to not be spoiled on something before I watch it. That's just how I like to enjoy things. And the same thing is with wrestling. It is hard when our job is to go through social media and post things and and go live and do all this stuff if you are trying to avoid something. But I didn't see anything, and I wasn't necessarily trying to avoid anything. I just was not spoiled on. I mean, okay, we kind of knew is Inamura going to beat Oba for the title? Probably not. So I didn't see anything that necessarily spoiled me. But by the time we got home Sunday evening, I then kind of was like, ooh, I don't necessarily want to be spoiled by Evolution. Maybe I'll just lay off kind of going on my phone. So I did that. And then Monday I woke up and just kind of started watching everything. And then I kind of caught up and then I felt fine. So no, I didn't see anything from Great American Bash. It's like, I'm sure there was people watching live, and I'm sure there's people who,
of course, yeah,
chose that one over, and like maybe it's free because you got Peacock or Netflix or whatnot. But like, I'm sure there was a lot of people watching both because those people exist. As we've discussed, I think it's okay if you're watching like a show, like a TV show, but when it's a pay-per-view, like 0% chance, I think that's fine because it's rest. Like, how are you supposed to concentrate on each one? But yeah, I'm sure
I'm going to watch Superman and Fantastic Four side by side. Like,
yeah,
why just watch one and then watch the other?
After watching Superman today, pick Fantastic Four, I would say. Hot take maybe,
because they've always done such a great job with those Fantastic Four movies, haven't they?
I'm not looking forward to that one either, to be honest. I'm still going to see it. The interest is there, but Superman maybe didn't hit the way.
Superman, I've heard, like, actually for me, it's made me want. I'm not a huge Superman fan, but
yeah, he's not the best character
because it's been so, like, I've seen some great reviews for it. I've seen some terrible reviews for it. Because of that, it's kind of made me want to like make up my own mind. So
that's why I saw it. Yeah,
I might go and see it and try and form an opinion.
I'd say
just
it was
to sit in
cool
an AC room for a 2 hours sounds pretty nice to me.
Crypt, and you know what? It's worth seeing in theaters just for Crypto. That's a night like it's still enjoyable. Come on, it's still a Superman movie. You know, like I make up your own mind. But also, Fantastic Four, I'm a little worried about every time I watch too much of these trailers or I see too much of the TV spots, and I'm like, oh no, I'm worried about that one too. But I'm sure it'll all work out. But don't watch two movies at the same time unless maybe you're into that. And then of course, wrestling fans had like things to choose between on Saturday. We made our choice. We traveled down to Dallas. We had such a good time. And then we didn't necessarily have time, but then on our flight, I don't know how you managed to do it, but you somehow got Saturday night's main event and Dynamite on our phones. Mm-hmm. So I was able to watch Dynamite going into our trip, which was cool to kind of catch up on some wrestling. And then Goldberg and Gunther kind of coming back. And is this match added officially to our podcast, Davie?
I think we'll talk about it on there. It makes sense. I've thrown up the debut match. I feel we're jumping over the place here. Let's go in order. Let's start with Great American Bash and then work our way through because we're talking about 5 different shows at the same time, which I get it because wrestling did it to us this weekend. Yeah, we are scrambled. But let's try and get some order here. Let's start off with some Great American Bash it's a first in upNXT history. We didn't do a show. The show wasn't covered on upNXT for very obvious reasons. But yeah, we're not necessarily going to go through move by move, but let's just give some like brief thoughts about each one. We started with the Jasper Troy Javon Evans match, and with Javon Evans going over, kind of just trying to, really show off Jasper Troy as this beast. A lot of him just throwing around Javon, and then Javon kind of getting that win right at the end there. Any major thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I didn't love this one. Like Jasper Troy still comes across pretty green, and he's just always trying to just mean mug. And I think he maybe is still trying to find himself. And I guess this is the best way, being thrown into some big cast of characters since debuting on NXT. And Javon is someone who's can make you have an interesting match. I mean, it was pretty much Jasper beating down on him and then a quick roll up for the win here. But if this is still like something new to him, I guess he's maybe getting it pretty quickly. But as we'll talk about from tonight's episode of NXT, like there's still, as we saw later in the show, I guess you could even say like they were still going to push this guy even further.
Yeah, they're putting a lot behind this guy. I don't really see it yet. I find when Obafemi first came along and he was pretty green, but you saw the way he was throwing people around, and it looked quite unique the way he was doing it. And I'm finding him very generic so far, and maybe something will tap in. But I think this was important for Javon to get a win, because he seems to be someone who, like, everyone loves, but he always comes up short in these feuds, it feels. So good for Javon to get that win and hopefully move him up the card. But I didn't think the match was particularly exciting.
Yeah, no, again, the guy he just looks mean, and then he's got his chain that still reminds me of the Christmas Carol. I'm just like, well, we need something a bit more creative than that, I think. But
we then had Sol Ruca defeating Izzy Dame for the North American Championship. We had Tatum Paxley on the side of Sol Ruca. We had ZARIA there as well. I thought this was pretty fun. I mean, I think the women were definitely the talk, the buzz this weekend. And I thought both showed up. Izzy has actually been starting to impress me a bit. I think as much as I dislike the culling, I think it has allowed her to, like, show a bit more personality and stuff, and almost being the leader of the group at this point. So she's coming into her own, and obviously, like, Sol Ruca is like definitely a project right now. She's someone who we can see very big things for. So I didn't mind this one.
Yeah, I think easily Izzy's best match up there. Like, finally, I mean, Sol Ruca is someone who can bump around and fly around, and it makes for a good base and a good opponent. So I think they meshed pretty well. It was quick. It didn't necessarily outstay its welcome, but you got some good teases with Tatum. And then there was a crazy spear, if I remember now, from watching yesterday on the outside, where Tatum just ate it from ZARIA. But Sol winning, again, we've said since kind of seeing the beginning of Sol Ruca, like, okay, surfer, hippie gimmick, but she's impressed. And yeah, she's definitely someone down the line that could potentially be a pretty big deal for WWE. But you know what? Izzy is improving, and now that the culling is mostly focusing on her, I think it's going to work. And then maybe with the addition of Tatum, kind of right now that they're toying with, there's some room for her to even improve even more.
We also had the Falls Count Anywhere no holds barred match between Ethan Page and Ricky Saints for the North American title. Ethan Page going over via a big assist from Jasper Troy, which will continue on to tonight's show. But yeah, it's so hard after watching a Texas Death Match with Mox and Hangman to watch any kind of WWE hardcore style match. I thought they tried their best with it. I liked all the spots with, like, the chair and Ricky's throat, which they continued to play up. There was some fun stuff, like, as they started, like, brawling more through the crowd and the backstage area. I liked it. I didn't necessarily blow me away.
I think maybe I liked it more than their other one, which was pretty good as well. I liked it, but yeah, they tried their best of going through, like, kind of brawling through the around area, the Pillmanizer spot with the chair around the neck again. Like, the big Ego's Edge off the top. That was kind of the finish. But I think the Jasper Troy thing again kind of weakened it a little bit. But at this point, like, after the first two matches were kind of okay, this one finally I was like, oh yeah, Ethan again and Ricky, they do have some great chemistry. And I loved how Ethan Page, mind you, the North American champion, who is both Canadian and American, because I'm assuming he doesn't live in Hamilton, Ontario anymore, even though I'm sure he proudly represents, loved his North American championship gear with the American flag and the Canadian Maple Leafs all over. I thought it was a nice touch, which will also, I think, come into play with a promo segment from tonight's NXT. But you know what? I thought this was a fun match. Of course, it didn't get, like, super violent, but I do know that these two could take that to the next level if they wanted to.
We then had, like, a bit of a segment with Trick, Santana, and Joe Hendry, which was interrupted by DarkState with a beatdown that set up the match on tonight's show. I found watching this, like, it just reminded me that this show was so just thrown together for the sake. This show didn't feel... This felt like an episode of NXT. Like, Saturday Saturday afternoon NXT, and this was a segment that would have happened on an episode of NXT. Like we've got some big matches on next week's Houston show, and it kind of feels like that could be the Great American Bash as well. But we're NXT are doing this weird thing, and we'll get into it more later with trying to build up Slammiversary whilst promoting their own stuff. So this was a bit of a like Slammiversary promotion, and then the DarkState beat down, which kind of continues on.
Yeah. If it wasn't, it was like, hey folks, if this weekend wasn't enough wrestling, we're also trying to really promote this show that's next weekend for a different company that we're working with here. I mean, this definitely was probably where your channel hoppers maybe flipped over to the other show to maybe see what was going on, because this was pretty lazy. You said it felt like an NXT segment. It felt like an NXT segment that I would hate if it was on NXT. And the guys tried their best, but it's so cookie cutter. Like, I'm the best TNA champion. It's like Trick is the best talker of these three, but the story is, I already kind of said this in the last few weeks. I'm not necessarily super invested in WWE NXT TV, really trying to make me watch like these other shows. And then they're really trying, but I can't say it's working for me personally. I'm sure it's helping TNA because it's obviously is attached to WWE, but it makes the shows feel it's feeling like less than a little bit with like the way it's kind of all going. So I can't say I'm even interested in. I'm sure we're going to hear about what happens, and I'm sure we're going to get more TNA involvement, maybe with or without the title. But I think it's already kind of running its course for me and making me feel invested, because this was silly that we needed to do this on a PLE. I thought, especially if you're a real wrestling fan, I'm not calling you crazy, but you're not a real wrestling fan if you were watching this at 2:30 on Saturday afternoon. Like, what were you doing? Why?
We then had Obafemi defending against Inamura. We had Josh Briggs at ringside, and he was basically saying Inamura needs to do whatever it takes. He cheekily uses the NXT title against Obafemi without Inamura realizing. And as he goes up for his big splash, he sees Briggs holding the title. It's like, what did you do? And this allows the kind of distraction, and ultimately Obafemi wins the match, and Josh Briggs looked very pissed off. That very much carried over onto today's show. But I'd say this was probably my match of the night. I thought
for Great American Bash, yeah.
For Great American Bash, for sure. I think Inamura's got this pretty nice connection with the crowd. I think people really seem to like him. He's a little bit goofy and a little bit geeky, but I think it works when he starts just throwing elbows against this giant Nigerian man he's up against in Obafemi. And yeah, I thought it was it brought out something else from Oba. Like I just thought it was a pretty nice like slugfest here, and I actually appreciated the shenanigans with Briggs, because he's someone we've been kind of high on over the years, and we do think he's been sort of overlooked and maybe wasted, and especially in a men's division that needs some main eventers. I like the attempt to try and get Briggs to being maybe one of the like upper mid-card heels in the company.
I joked like a second ago saying, oh, like, we're the real wrestling fans. This was some real grabs. I really did enjoy this match. And I like, again, we have been high on Inamura and Briggs and the weird story of vests and things over the past little while. But we knew that these guys would, have a just throwing bombs and hitting each other and killing each other. And they definitely did that. I'd say it maybe didn't get to like the next level that I think we could probably get to, but I'm kind of happy of the direction that we're going to after tonight's episode. But easily the best match on Great American Bash, and the one highlight I would say from the show. I would say you didn't necessarily miss too much. I would say I enjoyed Ethan and Ricky as well, but Oba and Inamura definitely was the hard hitting match that I knew they could get to.
And then we had the main event, which I was kind of surprised that it was the main, but I think maybe they were just trying to really like focus on the women this weekend. It was the NXT in-ring debut of Blake Monroe teaming with Jordan Grace, taking on Fatal Influence of JC Jane and Fallon Henley. fine work between them all. It's essentially a inconsequential tag match main eventing your show, which I just felt a little weird. But Blake Monroe picking up the win here for the team, and obviously that story was going to continue through to Evolution.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of weird that it's the main event, unless they were going to do some sort of angle, and then they didn't, and then not to jump ahead, but then they did it the next night. So I'm like, okay, why was this the main event? It did feel like this Great American Bash was just a TV episode of NXT, really. Even had a segment in it. So not my favorite PLE by a long shot, but again, I would recommend Oba and Inamura if by chance you're listening and you haven't checked it out. Obviously, you'll pretty much know who won that one, but still, fun match. But the rest of the show really did just feel like an episode of NXT.
I wouldn't say there was anything necessarily bad on the show, but I found it such a missable show. Like this show really didn't need to happen. And they've had a good run of PLEs, and I think this is kind of a little bit of a black mark on that, because we know why this show was put out there. There was no reason why this couldn't have been tonight's show of NXT. We've had the branded Tuesday night shows. That's what this should have been. Was a fine episode of NXT, but was it a PLE? I don't think so.
Yeah, totally agree. I am happy with the decision I made. If that makes any sense. 100%.
And then any thoughts from Saturday night's main event?
Yeah. Okay. So I did cherry pick this show because
I have not watched Jimmy Uso versus
Solo. Oh shucks, I'm gonna have to. Sorry, guys. I'll rush to watch it right after the show.
Yes, I definitely cherry picked with this one.
Okay, so I guess we'll go in order of what I did see. Seth Rollins. Now this seems like it's the talk of the town. Seth Rollins' injury from Saturday night's main event. Now he's got the match with LA Knight. We've all seen the clip now, I'm sure. We've seen Seth do this before. We've seen Seth injure himself like this before. I think it's the Jinder one, right? That someone did the side-by-side video.
Yeah.
So the tale as old as time. Is it a work?
So I didn't know about any of this because I hadn't really, we've kind of been doing our own thing, and I didn't listen to John and Way's review of Saturday night's main event, but I did listen to Raw, and it took me a while to realize, because they were talking a little bit in riddle for a bit, that Steph's injury might not be legit. And then I'm looking into it, and different outlets kind of reporting different things. John Pollock himself, I believe, said he had word on Thursday that Seth was injured and then is obviously working this match. Now, it seems possibly what people are putting together, that yes, there is an injury, but maybe it's a bit of a minor injury that Seth just needs to take a little bit of time off to rehab it a bit. Whereas they're pushing from Saturday night's main event that maybe it's another blown out knee like he's had before. And therefore we could have the ultimate shock cash in at, say, a SummerSlam or something.
Right. Okay. So back and to the left. Back and to the left, right? Okay. So he's not injured, or he is injured. He really injured himself a different time, and he's pretending that he got injured. And do I have this?
So people are saying he was injured before the match, but was okay enough to do it. I guess kind of think Cody Peck situation, and did this spot. And as you pointed out, very similar to the spot in the Jinder match, to kind of make out that it's worse than it is, and maybe the what is it, the MCL, the ACL, which he's torn before, where you're thinking could be 9 months or whatever. He was that first injury he had from that sunset flip with Kane, right? He was out for a long, long time. Maybe it's a way to kind of trick your fans into thinking he's going to be out a long, long time and he'll come back a bit sooner than that, which could be a pretty successful cash in, if it's someone who's actually injured and away and coming back from injury to cash in.
especially if it's against CM Punk, like
Exactly.
continuing that feud where he's like now trying to get back at him and everything. So I hope he's all right. Like that's really unfortunate if it were to be a legit injury, because damn, like off a big WrestleMania win and everything, and off the same knee injuries. So I'm hoping that that there is some sort of a bit of a
I kind of hope
happy
these
ending.
rumors are true. Like I think it's different if they are like kind of trying to work us a bit, and it also allows, as we saw on Raw this week, it allows someone like Bron Breakker to flourish even more. Kind of, he's not the second man now. He obviously had a good showing with that gauntlet match on Raw. You finally got LA Knight a big win, I guess, coming out of this as well.
Big win, huge win.
Yeah,
off an injured guy. Yeah, at least he won. Yeah, he's still super popular. It sounds whenever I do see. So it's like, I don't know, you could go something with that, but okay. So then from that we had Goldberg, his final match against Gunther in Atlanta. There's a lot that's come out just today since this match has taken place. So this will make it even more fun to talk about here. But Goldberg's retirement, as if you're watching live in the Post Wrestling YouTube, Gunther chopping Goldberg's titty and Goldberg just smiling.
He's
what
loving
a picture.
It. Yeah.
Put it in the Louvre. Maybe he's into that kind of stuff. Or maybe he's just laughing at how shitty Gunther's worked chop is. Maybe, possibly.
Look, I don't think expectations were particularly high for this one. I would say I don't think Goldberg embarrassed himself. I thought like it was as fine a match as Goldberg could go out on as a Goldberg at this age in his career. I quite liked his walk, not usually not the security guards, but his family taking to him in the ring. I thought that was a nice touch. And I thought they gave him some cool moments in the match. Now, since then, it's come out that Goldberg was pretty pissed off by it all. And I think there's a lot of validity in what he was saying. His speech after the match was cut short. It's them saying, like, Ariel Helwani asking, do you think that was WWE or do you think it was the network? And he's like, it's live TV. We know it's a hard out. You should prepare for that. You should allow Goldberg to have his moment, have his speech if you're doing this retirement. But like, let's talk about maybe the match first. We will dive into it a bit more on our best match ever Goldberg that we're recording this week.
That means I gotta watch it again. Oh, for fuck's sake! You know what? It had all the bells and whistles. We pretty much called this. This was the paint by numbers. Okay, there's gonna be a ref bump. Hope Charles Robinson's okay. There's gonna be a spear through the barricade. There's gonna be a spear, and there's gonna be a jackhammer. We got all that stuff. He just still.
Hey, the jackhammer looked good as well. I thought, considering
it looked all right.
Considering the size of Gunther and stuff, and this point in his career, I thought the jackhammer looked pretty good.
It was better than I thought it was going to be, considering like he could barely even walk to the ring on the two segments I saw leading up to it. So I don't think he embarrassed himself by any means. He waited to do that on Ariel Helwani's show, I guess. I think he.
You think he embarrassed himself?
No, I'm joking. I think he looked fine. Like, it was kind of weird as a fan being like, oh, hey, why are they like randomly pushing Goldberg's one last match against Gunther? Okay, let's go with it. Oh, it's that weekend. Oh, it's that day. Oh, for fuck's sake. Okay, well then I'm not necessarily going to be focused on that because there's a whole other stuff going on. But if you're a Goldberg fan, sure, why wouldn't you want to see that? And I was interested in watching the speech, and then it got cut off. Even on the YouTube version here in Canada, they put the whole show up on their YouTube. They didn't even add in the speech. I'm sure it's been recorded. Is it not been uploaded in full?
I think it has been uploaded, I believe.
Okay, because it was just like, oh, okay, you didn't edit that in. I don't believe that was WWE's fault. That's TV, live TV. They have outs. They're gonna cut you. We were at Sting's retirement, and technically the pay-per-view ends with Sting being like, they're waiting for my cues. Cut. And it's like, oh, But then they were quick to be like, yo, wait, here's this whole like extra interview. And it was a beautiful interview. And I'm sure Goldberg's was nowhere near as beautiful as that one. But to hear him whine now the next day is pretty interesting, I find.
Like, I listened to it and I kind of agree with everything he was saying. You know, I think if you're doing this on TV rather than a PLE, you know you've got that hard out. This should have just, the last 30 minutes of the show should have been this. I'm not saying the match should have been 30 minutes, but you allow time. You know you're going to want to have a speech from the guy after. You know you're going to want to do a big entrance, like milk the crowd a bit with the stare down before the bell goes, that kind of thing. There's so much more you could have done. And it felt so thrown together. Now, he said he was hoping that he was going to do 3 dates in Israel, and that's how he wanted to retire. But with the conflicts going on, obviously that was scrapped. We know that there were talks with AEW at some point, but thought they are too, and I quote, cheesy. And yeah, he's like, well, I'm a WCW guy. I was a WWE guy. Like, so that's why. But this has been programmed just to counter like AEW on this day.
Yeah, you were used, buddy.
And
yeah, you were used.
It didn't have the time. It didn't give, like, by the sounds of it in that interview, he was willing to do more dates and like really build this up. And he's like, wait, I did 3 interviews in about 6 months building this thing up and was on TV like twice. And you just think, you watch how they handled Sting's retirement in AEW. Now, okay, yes, the guy is like, his knee isn't there, but you could have like built up a little mini streak of him just spearing a Tozawa to get a win. And, you know, these expendable guys where he really doesn't have to get too physical, but just, I think there was so much more you could have done with this. It kind of reminded me of the Kurt Angle retirement, where you looked at Kurt and you go, yes, Kurt Angle can't go anymore. His body's completely broken down, but he's a legend and they should pay their respects in a certain way. And instead they gave him Baron Corbin on that show where later in the night, John Cena just comes out to do a segment with Elias. It's like, it was right there in front of you. I felt kind of similar with this. I think there was a lot more you could have got out of this Goldberg retirement. I'm not saying the match would have been any different, but I think you could have packaged this all up in a much better way and built it in a way where, you know, people might be going, ooh, do I want to go and see Goldberg's last match? Like, it could have been a draw at SummerSlam, like not the main event, but it could have been a big featured moment at SummerSlam. So yeah, Goldberg said in about 2 weeks he can really spill the beans, but he seemed pretty upset by the whole thing.
I fucking laughed watching that clip. I had a great time. You know, it was probably Bret Hart in that production truck. Can't cut the feed. Cut it right now. Fuck your speech, bro. No one wants to hear that shit. I have a nice fond love for Goldberg, but I love Bret more. I love Sting more. So it was kind of like, okay, what else could you possibly do? To do the spear, you have to run, and you could barely walk. So you know what? They did more than okay with what he could do for this match. Like, again, I was expecting a bit of a train wreck. I was expecting Undertaker Goldberg, but Gunther, he was in good hands, literally with the chop to the titty. So it was way more entertaining than it should have been. But at the same time, I was like, okay, it's over. Let's move on. And it did feel like that's how they treated it. Like, we didn't really treat it with that much respect. Yeah, we'll just use this as we have this in our back pocket. Okay, Goldberg's retirement. Yeah, on when should we do it? Oh, a Saturday. Yeah, July 12th. Let's just do it then. And it seemed that way going into it, and clearly coming from the horse's mouth itself, it was clearly that. It was clearly just thrown together just because. So what do you mean when he says 2 weeks? Why, he's like out of a contract or something?
Well, he said I think he's probably under contract until 2 weeks time, and then he can say more of his thoughts and whatever. Because
he also, he mentioned his son Gage and how they offered him. This is all on Ariel's interview that I saw. He said that WWE offered Gage an NIL contract, and that I think he was alluding to that it was too small. Like, whoa, embarrassed. Like, no, how could you even do that to, like, he's a Goldberg. You got to offer him like probably a lot more money than that, essentially, for now. Remember Gage with his shirt off?
Oh yeah, a little fat Gage.
Now he's ready to fight. He would be a good wrestler, though. I don't know. It's weird because he clearly had a talk with Tony Khan, and then he said it was too cheesy, but in the end he ended up with another thing with holes in it, which was this retirement tour here in WWE. So it's the best it could be. I don't know, like anyone's retirement tour couldn't be as good as Sting's. That was just perfect. John Cena's is an absolute mess, whether it's making millions of dollars or not. It's not great artistically. No. It's not great creatively, no matter what anyone says. You might have a great collectible shirt that'll resell for maybe a few $100s in the future, but creatively, it's not necessarily hitting, I think, the way people are wanting it to. And I think Goldberg's maybe just a little butthurt that his retirement, maybe in his mind, felt like maybe he watched Sting's retirement. Maybe he heard all the other people talk about their retirements, and maybe he just
I feel there was a lot more fun you could have done with this. Like imagine Gunther doing the metal plate from the spear, like recreate that angle. It ties in with the Brett thing. I think there was so much more you could have done with this, which wouldn't have really required Goldberg to be much more physical than what he normally does, you know, like do a spear, do a punch or whatever. But it was disappointing. As he said, didn't embarrass himself, but I do feel for the guy. Like I say you only get one chance of a retirement. It's wrestling, but you know what I mean? Like it's you're announcing this as your retirement match, but then I'm sure like Undertaker wished his went a different way, and I'm sure so many wished it went a different way. But I think as far as it comes to retirements, AEW know how to do one.
Think Jeff Jarrett's. His is going to be great. He's going to have a way better retirement tour than Goldberg's when the last Outlaw finally has his. Or like maybe Goldberg does go over. We get it. The one match I want. I just need one last match. Pretend the Gunther match didn't happen, Bill. Do the match the people want. Do the match you want, Goldberg. Do the match I want. Goldberg versus Orange Cassidy, please. Mm-hmm. Still, you can only do it in 2K or in your dreams. But wow, what a matchup that would be. Still want it. Yeah. Goldberg's retired. We will be looking at the best of Goldberg in a best match ever podcast. We are recording this tomorrow over on our Patreon. Davey made a list of like 50 matches, and they still don't equal to half the time we watched of Kenny and Okada. So
the list is a lot more daunting than it actually is, because majority of them are under 3 minutes. So like any time you're going to take a dump, just like load one up on your phone.
Okay, so we have to change. I know we're going to go off for a second, but we have to rate this as like the best squash too, because like they're all sub 3 minute matches.
It's how many, right? Like the debut, the squashes, all of that. But yeah,
the taser.
I think best, maybe best like actual match and best squash is what we'll have to. So maybe it's the same thing.
Right. I mean, he's had some other like moments too. It's going to definitely inspire me before we record to watch some of his best, maybe, I don't know, segments or entrance. That one entrance in the Tokyo Dome, I forget the show, when it's so icy. He's like in the jacket and everything. Like he's so hard. Yeah. I'm looking forward to best match ever Goldberg. We're going to pay him some respect with looking through the best of Bill Goldberg. And we're going to put that out this week on our Patreon. So we would love your feedback, by the way. Any favorite Goldberg matches and moments, write them down. I know Davey's added the stun gun, the La Parka. We'll talk about some Bret Hart. It's going to be a fun show. So can't wait for that.
Absolutely.
I hope Charles Robinson is okay, right? I heard that he did get
he cracked a rib or something like that.
That's crazy. Yeah. Wild. Hope he's all right.
As he should. You know, Goldberg, one last big spear, and it was to Charles Robinson. Now, we also had Evolution, which I think on another weekend would have been a massive talking point and still had some attention. But I caught up with this yesterday and thought this show was awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, Evolution, the first one, took way too long to get to an all-women pay-per-view and way too long to get to the second ever, but we finally made it there. And I'm certainly glad we did, because as fans, we were treated to a real treat. You know, I think I still, even after watching the show, the way this show felt like it was built to, and maybe the promotion going into it, it didn't feel that special. They didn't treat it like as special as it very damn well deserved to be treated. It didn't. And even after the fact, it kind of was like, okay, cool. But the way WWE kind of did this weekend, it did feel like they did some of their talent dirty. But I was really excited and hyped to watch this show, just of course timing wise. So I did try to stay off my phone Sunday, and I did try to watch this Monday, and I did, and it was a great show. Now I did get a giggle, of course. Davie, all women's pay-per-view show. Okay, so should we put that video game, or sorry, what is that? The Naked Gun logo in the middle of the ring? No. Maybelline in the middle of the ring. Bravo. I see what you did there. Nice job, WWE promotions team. I see what you did. Maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's Maybelline. Yeah.
Started with the triple threat for the Intercontinental Championship, which I thought was awesome. Story continuing on Raw with Bailey and Lyra having a pretty great 2 out of 3 falls match. But yeah, I loved this match. Thought it was a great opener. I felt throughout the whole show that you could feel there was a bit of a chip on the shoulder from all these women. And I thought everyone showed up and stepped up. And it's funny how things have kind of changed, because I'm watching this show going, hey, it's now the women who wrestle and the men who just walk around and pose and look pretty and chat shit to each other. Like, it's how times have changed. Like, but yeah, I thought this opening match was great. And the finish with the kind of the Becky roll up out of nowhere, I thought was so slick.
Yeah, a really fun match. You have obviously the history with Becky and Bailey, but Lyra's really coming into her own. I think this feud will be what ultimately makes her, and she's leaning into the bird lady stuff. The crowd do the cheer thing in her entrance, and the moves are really clicking. So I think coming out of this, it's really going to pay off for it, because Bailey and Becky, they're already made, and I'm really enjoying. What was it? I saw a picture of Becky on Raw with the yellow and red
and yellow.
Yeah. Becky Hogan. She's definitely on Twitter. So I thought this was a pretty fun opening match.
She cut a whole promo on it as well.
Yeah. Very, very funny. I thought this was a great way to start the show, especially showcasing like 3 of the best actual wrestlers going. But Becky is still, I love heel Becky in WWE. So this was pretty fun.
She's been great. I think they've done a great job, like pulling Lyra up on their level. I think the fans really look at her as a top star in the women's division now, which it took a while to get going, but this feud has done wonders for her, and I'm looking forward to the rematch at SummerSlam.
I haven't said it in a while, so I guess I'll just dust it off. I want Bailey to go be all elite with her friends.
Sure. A friend, singular. We then had JC Jane defeating Jordynne Grace, retaining the NXT Women's Championship via an assist from Blake Monroe. I really like the work in this match. JC just continues to impress me with how far she's gone. I think she kind of deserved this spot. She's been in NXT for quite a while. Jordynne Grace, obviously one of the best in the world. I thought they had a pretty great match here. The turn we saw coming a mile off. I don't think, in my opinion, this was all handled the best way. But what did you think of the match and the turn?
Yeah, the match was all right. I think they were maybe not holding back a little bit, but it didn't get to maybe where I know that even both of them can get. Obviously, we've seen Jordynne Grace throughout her history before NXT of just having awesome performances in the ring. But JC, you're right, like really has stepped up. And I think being champion has made her step up even more so. So I really do think she has. I just thought the finish was so silly, really. Like Blake Monroe's character, she came in and got punked out by these 3. They beat the hell out of her. Then she was off TV, and then she comes back, and now she's her friend, Grace's friend, and then I'm not just someone in your corner, and then like costs her the match. It's just kind of a little all over the place. I would have much preferred if maybe Grace won and then the turn, or like you wait for the turn just a little bit more. This was just a weird and sloppy way to get this.
It was so quick because we only just saw them doing makeup a week ago. You know, like when you think of, yes, and I am going to compare it to the Tony Storm feud because that was built over such a long time. I think there was a way you could have done a sort of mini version of that Tony Storm feud, but it being a little different. Now, if Blake Monroe debuted by actually saving Jordynne Grace from a beatdown, from Fatal Influence, and aligning herself with her, instead of having Blake Monroe giving Jordynne Grace a makeover, you should have seen Blake Monroe doing Jordynne Grace's workouts and that kind of thing. And her going, I chose to come here because I wanted to be in the same company as you, because I think you're the best women's wrestler in the world, or something like that, to build up to this moment. Instead, it was just it was a lazy debut. It was a confusing beatdown from Fatal Influence. We all saw this turn coming a mile off. It wasn't particularly creative about it. I think when we get to the actual like matches between the two, I'm looking forward to that. But I do think they kind of fumbled this whole thing with Blake coming in.
You could have easily waited to do the turn, or this is where you could have had her debut. Realistically, you could have had vignettes leading up to her showing up, and you're not sure what she's going to do, and then she attacks someone or shows up. But like, why? You're doing aces and eights here a little bit. You're backtracking on who the heels attacked her, and now she's turning heel. Like, how would that make any fucking sense? Why would she attack Grace when these three were the ones who attacked you in the fucking first place? So stupid. It's wrestling is silly. It's stupid. So when they do something that's this dumb in the writing, it's like how, but you, anyways, yeah, it was annoying, but I'm sure it'll lead to some good matches. It's just silly now that why wouldn't she go after JC, who's the champion who attacked her and punked her out? So yeah, strange. Maybe she was pissed. Jordynne Grace maybe left Blake with the bill at the nail salon, and this is why she attacked her probably. So
we then had the fatal four-way for the women's tag championship match, for the tag team champions rather. Raquel and Roxanne, the Kabuki Warriors, saw Ruca and Alexa Bliss, and the top babyface in the company, Charlotte Flair.
Yeah, apparently everyone loves Charlotte again. What's up with that?
Were you aware of like the article that came out last week with Charlotte?
I did see some of it, but I can't say I read the whole thing. No.
It was basically Charlotte going about how like awful it was, like going through the divorce and the fact that it was brought up and her failed marriages really kind of like fucked with her, and the fact that then you've got a crowd laughing about it and booing her because of it, and then that thing came out about the people within wrestling receiving the most amount of abuse on Twitter, and hers was like higher, like way higher than everyone else. So yeah. I get the feeling a lot of people have read that and been like, yeah, maybe we've been a bit mean. And because she was I've never seen her really get cheers like that she did on this show. But again,
they just like her in Atlanta, okay?
Yeah, maybe
Flair country.
But I thought pretty fun match. Talking at the beginning about people stepping up, I think this is the best I've ever seen Raquel look. Who I'm really not that high on Raquel, but I think there's actually something there with her and Roxanne. Thought pretty fun. The women's tag division's weird because they're so hot and cold on it. As it looks like Kabuki Warriors might be sticking around as a team, but would like to see some like an actual division being built. But again, I thought a fine match with these 8.
Yeah, cool to see Kabuki Warriors back together. We always love the what's the team with all of them? I'm forgetting now.
The Kabuki Sky Pirates.
The Kabuki Sky Pirates is what we like to call
Sky
them.
Pirate Huggers. Yeah.
Yeah, the good times. Is that shirt still available? Yeah, chop-tees.com/Poisonrana. I think, I'm not sure. We love the Kabuki Warriors, so it did warm my heart a little bit. And their cool outfits and stuff. Ever since Asuka came back, she does look so badass as per usual. So it was cool seeing that. And you're kind of right. Raquel has kind of stepped up. I mean, she sort of has to. You're put in a big position. You can't be. She hasn't been the most exciting wrestler even up to this point, but at least now she can be the muscle when it counts. And you're with Roxanne Perez, who is so young and so gifted in between those ropes. So
I love
think
the
it's
stuff
rubbing.
with Roxanne and Asuka was
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
awesome, and like nice little
think maybe
tasters in this match of other sort of singles matches you can get down the line.
Yeah, and of course ZARIA and Sol Ruca, like obviously we watch them on NXT, but to be put in the mix there, and again, we're so high on Sol now. Like she's got to be one of the big stars down the line, and I'm loving ZARIA, and I'm sure when we get to that split, it'll be even fun. But yeah, a fun match, and I didn't necessarily think any of those other teams were going to take the titles, and they didn't.
I didn't really like how we got here, but I'm warming to the Charlotte Alexa thing. I think it is something fresh for Charlotte, you know, like doing this tag team thing, having maybe a bit more of a personal story where she could get, you know, her heart ripped out down the line by Alexa Bliss, like eventually warming up and trusting someone. I think it's a bit of a fresh direction for Charlotte rather than let's get you a 15th women's championship.
Yeah.
We then went on to the, Tiffany Stratton taking on Trish Stratus for the women's championship. I feel like I always feel when I watch Trish Stratus come back, like, how is she still great? Like,
how does she still look like that?
Yeah, like I even think like her last run, like the heel run, that it was maybe the best wrestling she's ever been. Like I don't know, it's so impressive. I think Tiffany's had a bit of a rocky road with this championship. I can't say the WrestleMania match with Charlotte lived up to what we were hoping it could be. But I enjoyed this. I thought this was pretty good.
No, I thought it was pretty fun. I think if you were to add Trish versus anyone, you know, we just recently reviewed Evolution 1 from 2018, and we were saying on that review, like Trish and Lita teaming together, like how could you do this show without them on it? And all these years later, it's crazy that Trish has been back and forth in WWE a little bit. And we were just at Elimination Chamber, but to see her back and now having the match against Tiffy, so it's Trishy time. I thought this was pretty good. Two best gears of the night went for Trish and for Tiff at Evolution as well. But I thought this was pretty fun, and anyone would have wanted to see Trish versus Tiff just because like the way they did the tag match, and just on paper, it's like this is your star right now, and this is Trish being like the Hall of Fame women's wrestling legend. So I thought it was pretty decent, and I like the finish of Trish doing her moonsault, which she's won many times that she got from her friend Lita, but then the prettiest moonsault prevailing. Again, a nice little matchup here. I thought this show was going along nicely. Like these matches weren't necessarily too long either, but they were getting their stuff in at the same time.
And then we had the no holds barred match with Naomi and Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill going over once again. I'd say one of her better showcases. This for me was probably on the lower end of the show, but I thought there was still some fun stuff in this.
Yeah, you know what? I totally agree. Maybe not my favorite match on this show, but at least they did some like fun and exciting things to kind of maybe hide Jade. I still don't think Jade is necessarily in the same league as a lot of other wrestlers, but you can't deny that she's got this like star power. I mean, just look at her. She's insanely jacked. So I thought she definitely stepped up, but I did get a little bit of a cackle out of anytime there's an exploding screen or a monitor, it just makes me giggle. Like imagine I smacked you over the head with your iPad, your Kindle, and it just explodes like that. I wish it's just very cartoony, you know, but I still love it because it's wrestling. So this was still actually better than I thought it was going to be.
I find Jade and Tiffany a weird matchup for SummerSlam because I don't think Jade is particularly over as a babyface right now. Especially,
is that where we're going?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Especially with Naomi. Yes, she's a heel right now, but everyone loves her because she's a heel. I find that a weird match to go to for SummerSlam. And then we had the main event. We had Io Sky taking on. Oh, was that it? No, we had the Battle Royal. The Battle Royal match.
Of course, yes.
Won by Stephanie Vaquer.
Yeah, this was fun too. The Battle Royal on the original show was really cool, and like the winner getting a title shot down the line. This is where WWE again, you were really confusing me, and I know it's not that hard, but at the same time, it's like you're already promoting 6 shows this weekend. Your Raw, your SmackDown, NXTs, now your TNA, but now SummerSlam. But now you're also telling me, but yeah, there's some show later in the summer in Paris. That's for this one. I'm like, okay, great. I'll remember this. But I still thought it was a fun battle royal and a great snapshot of like all the different people that showed up, like some of the NXT people, Candice Michelle, right?
Candice Michelle, yeah.
Candice Michelle as Michael Cole repeatedly. Like I know he's done it in the past, but wow, like he did it like 5 times in this thing. It was cool seeing a few of the like different characters mess with or team with other people. Like again, little combos that you might not always see here, but in the end, Stephanie Vaquer winning, obviously the right person to go forward through down the line, like whether or not she's facing Tiffany or Jade or someone on the other side or whoever else.
I think she has to challenge for Raw. I think.
Okay.
So we're looking at, Naomi.
I think they said just for a world championship shot. Like,
okay,
they could easily do some swindling there. But I thought it was cool that NXT's Last Legend kind of got last eliminated there, right? Like, they put in a lot in there for her, and I think she fit in being kind of the big, like tall, like star, right? Like she definitely towers over a lot of these women, and you could see that. So it was cool seeing Stephanie like slay the dragon, if you will.
I had one of the same thoughts that I did with the Casino Gauntlet, where I enjoyed the match. I thought there was some good stuff in there, but was like, man, could have had 1 or 2 legends in there to just as the surprise. But then you go, but your roster doesn't necessarily need it right now. Your roster's stacked, so why would you? And they opted to just have kind of the legends in the front row instead.
Yeah, so I guess we'll see if it's Stephanie versus Jade or Stephanie versus Tiff or Naomi or whoever else is the champion by that time. But that's down the line. So,
and then the main event, we had Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky for the Women's World Championship in a awesome match. Like, this was a crazy, like, awesome match, which I like. The women are just fucking killing it this year.
Absolutely. 2025 is definitely the year of the women in wrestling. 2025, the ladies are killing it. And I can't sing the praises of Io Sky enough. Io Sky gets me high. We've been talking about her from the days of NXT, from the days before, but man, she's just absolutely having one hell of a year. I think all the women are, but Rhea Ripley, Io, and Bianca at WrestleMania like had arguably one of the best matches of the year, one of the best WrestleMania matches, one of the best women's matches of all time. And somehow they go back to Rhea and Io and they put on a match this good. I really love this. Easily the match of the night from Evolution 2 here from me. And then on top of that, you have them brawling like all around the ringside. There's the huge jump from Io because she knows she's crazy. She loves that hang time. The nasty Razor's Edge from the Terror Twin Rhea Ripley, that like killed her with that. Yeah. That was so nasty. But like Io has got to be, men, women, doesn't matter. One of the best, like bell to bell, one of the best wrestlers going. I've said it for a long time, but holy shit, what a year. And Rhea Ripley and her just have this magic. Like they click so well together. And then the great cash in at the end, Naomi. I knew it was happening because Michael Cole just set it up so perfectly, being like, "Oh, both of them are down," and the music hits. It's like, yeah, all right, we knew that was coming.
Unfortunately, this was something I was spoiled on, which was a real shame. So I can't say if I'd have predicted it or not.
Yeah,
I love the booking of this though, because they gave you they didn't shortchange you with the Io and Rhea match.
No.
You've still got that thread open where Rhea has never beaten Io in a singles match.
Yeah, it's like Kawada Masawa kind of thing going on there.
Apart from some house show, but we don't talk about that. So you've kept that thread open. So you've opened up now the rematch is super anticipated when you get to it. Io and Rhea again, whether that's WrestleMania or a SummerSlam or whatever. Big stage, that's going to be, people are going to be excited for that. And I think Naomi's been so tied to this Jade Cargill story that everyone's been predicting the, Jade wins and Naomi cashes in at SummerSlam. And to kind of flip it like this, I thought was really smart. It left people love a cash in, a shock finish to it, a new champion. So I thought that was great. It somewhat protects Io and Rhea in the process. I don't think we necessarily need a Rhea Ripley title reign right now. I just thought it was great bit of business,
Honestly, really love the match. Again, Rhea and Io have been just killing it, and watching them wrestle as many times as they even have was great. And I was thinking when the match started, like, it's gonna be tough because I so love that WrestleMania match. I've watched it a few times already this year, and it's so good. Out of the whole thing from WrestleMania weekend, the only thing that I wish I got to see was that match. Like, yeah. And maybe the Sabu Joey Janela match. But like that triple threat really made me go, oh man, like what a classic. And I was so impressed that Io and Ripley did it one more time, one-on-one here. Like a damn near perfect piece of business here. You're right. Like having that match and then Naomi kind of save either of them from losing to another, again, kind of like how Bianca was in the triple threat match. So the story continues with Rhea and Io. We will get to it again, and down the line, it'll be one day even bigger and better than this one. But can Jade on SmackDown protest and get her title shot changed? Can she be like, Tiffany, actually, I don't want to fight you. I want to fight Naomi. And then, I don't know, who's the Adam Pearce or one of them goes,
I think that was the one. I think the king and queen of the ring was you had to challenge for your specific brand. I'm pretty sure they said that.
But, like, I wonder,
it's wrestling. You can write whatever you want to do.
They have announced Tiffany and Jade, like, because she retained and she won the match. But now that Naomi is champion, you would think Jade's character storyline-wise would be like, hey, actually, I want to face her.
I mean, we have had the triple threat match announced with Io, Rhea, and Naomi as well.
Oh, okay. Got you. That doesn't sound as good, but all right. Cool. Like that's still good.
The triple threat match was great at Mania, and I see this.
Like we're already going back to Io and Rhea again.
Io, Rhea, and Naomi. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Interesting. Well, I thought Evolution was really good. Again, Io and Rhea, easily the match of the night on that show. And it was great. Seeing all the women right now, again, this year, not just WWE, just the women in general and all across everything have just been spectacular to watch. I think the men, you're right, the men may be more storyline kind of driven and taking a back seat a little bit to some of the like in-ring action that we've been getting from some of these ladies has been top notch. So bravo. Yeah. I hope we don't have to wait another 7-8 years for an Evolution all women's WWE pay-per-view, because even watching, I'm not the biggest Katy Perry fan, but seeing that video in the beginning with some Katy Perry and, women, girls and all that stuff, I was like, yeah, women empowerment, so I love the ladies, and I would totally watch another one. And I hope we get to another one sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I've been super down on WWE recently, and this show did restore some faith. And I actually loved how they followed up with Raw yesterday. Pretty much the whole first 90 minutes of the show was all women. Just continued it. There was only one men's match on the whole show, and I thought it was really smart to continue the momentum of Evolution, having the women be the main story. I think they are the most interesting thing in the company right now, and yeah, they should ride with that. And the fact that right now we've already got 3 women's matches announced for SummerSlam is pretty cool. So yeah, I'm watching WWE for the women right now because that was great. And we were spoiled with wrestling this weekend, but I would, we had some awesome match of the year contenders from All In, but honestly, that main event of Evolution, will be in the conversation as well, because I thought it was a hell of a match.
Yeah, between Io and Ripley versus each other, or Mercedes and Tony, 2 of those women's matches to me this weekend, really stand out, and we'll be talking about at the end of the year over.
Yeah, normally our ballot at the end of the year, we only get 1 women's match fall into the top 10. I feel like it could be 50-50 this year.
There's so many more men's ones come to the top of my head than the triple threat. This one with Io and Rhea. the like I said, Tony
Mariah,
and
Tony.
Mariah as well, right? Like there's a lot of women's ones that have just been killing it here this year. So bravo. Hope we get another Evolution. They could easily do this like a once a year thing, but like do way better promotion. Like where's the like all the like women empowerment and girl power and all that? Like you could totally use this as a huge vehicle, as a huge event in today's world. Because, you know, when I was like 13, 15, going to wrestling shows, it was predominantly dudes, and now it's totally not like that. Like you get totally mixed deal at these WWE shows, whether it's families and stuff. So I do think, like, why wouldn't you make this a yearly thing? Why not give the women a show where it's all women on one show? I think you could easily make this a big special every year, and you don't need to tack it on to something else. You should make it the focus and something else tag. Yeah, like make it that. Like do like, okay, hear me out. Evolution, you do a whole pay-per-view for it, right? But leading up, you bring back the Mae Young Classic. So maybe during that weekend, you work with GCW or whoever else you're in bed with, your TNAs, and you do a Mae Young Classic across the board, and winners of that go on to wrestle in that show, et cetera, et cetera. But like you could totally, I love my WoW Women of Wrestling. Maybe I missed this week, but like they've been doing the best with some of their own stars and characters, and it's cool to see that it's not just men who are kicking ass out there in the squared circle. So again, really, really loved Evolution. Because I'm a big completist wrestling nerd. Obviously my brain was scattered all over the place with AEW weekend and going down there and witnessing All In and everything. And it did kind of make Evolution seem a little less important just in my own mind. But I know other people were like, no, we gotta like focus and everything. And I'm glad like I eventually watched it and wasn't spoiled, because again, thumbs up show, easily the best WWE show this weekend out of the three that they put on. So
easily,
yeah. Well, there you go. We do talk a lot about other wrestling. So again, search Poisonrana in your socials or your podcast app. We go live every Sunday when we can. This Sunday, 2 p.m. Catch Davie and I for Poisonrana Live. We're going to go live on our YouTube. Hit that follow or subscribe. We're going to talk a little bit more of the fallout from Evolution, maybe some more thoughts, and dissect some other stuff, some stuff from All In and all of the other stuff that goes on this week in the world of wrestling. So this Sunday, 2 p.m. is where you'll hear us talk about everything else that is going on. But now we can talk about this week's NXT. Bear with us. I know we're over an hour in and we're only talking about NXT. So timestamp that. All right. How do you hear about that, boy? Let's talk about some NXT from Tuesday, July 15th, 2025. And we start things off with a recap from the Great American Bash. Something I did love from the Bash as well was the recap videos showing the history, WCW, even WWE, Great American Bashes, et cetera, et cetera. I thought that was pretty good. But we start things off with Fatal Influence, JC Jane somehow surviving the weekend and staying NXT Women's Champion, as she says she's not the most beatable women's champion, as some of the people might be calling her. She can barely speak, and she says that it's because Jordan Grace elbowed me in my vocal cords. So she's got a really rough voice here. She says that she may have had a bad night at the Bash, but at Evolution, I shocked all of you. We shocked everyone. You should have seen your faces, which I think is a great heel bit because they were the most shocked. At the end of they were overselling, like, oh shit, okay, wait, we didn't expect that. So I thought that's great. Heels pretending that they were not. She says that she retained the NXT championship, and that's just the first step, because this week at TNA Slammiversary, I'm gonna take the Knockouts title too. And that's when the Knockout champion, TNA's Masha Slamovich, comes out, and she grabs a microphone and she says, "Hey, JC." Then it's just an awkward silence. Then she says, "Hey, JC."
Is this thing on?
There's another awkward silence. And then someone, I guess, gives Fallon a mic to give to her. And she's like, "Hey, use this." And then we get a third, "Hey, Arnold." "Hey, JC."
It's okay. She's new here, all right?
Unfortunate timing, mishap. But it was weird because it's like, I could hear you. Could not, maybe not everyone hear you? I don't know. Just a little funny blip there. But she says, "Hey, JC." It's almost like she's waiting for like the crowd to be like in on the reply there. She says that there's no way that you're beating me at Slammiversary because like I could easily kick your ass and I could easily prove to you that you are a beatable champion. When Sol Ruca comes out with ZARIA and says that like everyone knows that I stole the show, or ZARIA I think says that Sol Ruca stole the show this weekend and says that Masha is easily going to beat you and take that title away from you and NXT. And this is when it's all this huge breakdown.
It's because as well, JC brought up being she'll be JC 2 belts and the only 2 belt person. And they're like, well, wait, Sol has the Speed Championship. And
can't forget about that. Yeah, right? You can't forget about the Speed Championship. Did you see what Sol Ruca did to the North American Championship? She got a custom one.
Oh,
for all you belt freaks out there, Sol Ruca's got like this checkered, almost ska strap for the North. It's got ska like checkers on the side, then like weird like alien blobs, rainbow stuff, and like spray paint and stuff. It looks cool. It looks like it's her own version of her own belt. So cool. I'm sure that maybe one day they'll sell that. But they all start to fight, and it's pretty much announced right away that there will be a 6-woman tag match in our main event. Ruca and Masha versus Fatal Influence. But so Slammiversary is this weekend upcoming, and JC could be TNA champion, or Masha could be NXT Women's Champion.
Yeah, I find it weird how little Masha's been on NXT, considering how much we've seen some of the other people. Like Joe Hendry seems like he's on NXT every single week, and this is a pretty big deal, right? It's title v title. This is really the first, apart from seeing her front row, this is the first appearance of Masha Slamovich on NXT TV, actually doing something of substance, and it's a few days before the match. So I really don't see Masha winning this one. I think they'd have featured her a lot more on NXT TV if she was going to be the double champ. So I do see JC coming out of this at Slammiversary with both titles.
I think it would almost be more interesting if Masha won, but I see what you mean. Now, we were in Dallas this weekend, and it was, I heard some rumblings the day of the GCW show in Dallas that Masha was pulled from it because of some involvement, but she wasn't on Evolution or anything. So I'm wondering what the deal was, or maybe they think we don't want you doing all this other stuff if we're going to be featuring you maybe in some big angles and stuff like that. But I like, obviously you do think it would go to JC, but we already do have Trick who took their title. Would it not be a bit more like beating them down if we were to now take your women? I think it would be more interesting if JC loses to Masha.
Okay.
But you're totally right. They haven't even explained who Masha is on TV. She's been in the crowd. That's it. So it's kind of a lazy way.
Compared to the amount they featured, like Jordan Grace when she wasn't signed, and Joe Hendry, Santana, and all that, it's a little weird.
Yeah, I find it weird. We do see someone in the chat, Trent in the chat, saying Jordan Grace might interfere. That's totally what comes to mind. Like, you could squash finish that, so she costs someone the title, or it's thrown out, or like she would be mad that she didn't win that title, right? So we'll see. I don't know. Like, you would imagine it. Jordan Grace should be the one to win both of these titles at the same time, considering she's from TNA and now in NXT. But anyways, so that match is later tonight. We go to part 1 of 3 of the story of the family. At least I think that's what it's called. They didn't really tell me. They just said
family business. Yeah.
Birth of the Dawn. This is part 1. Birth of the Dawn. It's like your mafia movies that have chapters, Goodfellas, Godfather. We have Tony. The story of Tony D'Angelo in NXT. Wow, some great recap here of some old footage. Remember NXT 2.1? Sorry, NXT 2.0. We remember. He's talking about Uncle Paul. He told me 2 things in life: family and business. And we see him helping the team win in War Games. Remember Team 2.0 winning that against the NXT Originals. We see the consigliere. Who was this guy again? Quick, gun to your head. What's this guy's name?
AJ Galante.
Oh my God, Dave, you just saved my life.
Was that it?
I was about to get shot. Yeah, you saved me. I would have not got that. I purposely could not remember and then didn't look it up because I wanted to know if you did. And I don't even remember what you just said right then. So what was it, Tony? What is it?
I went AJ Galante. Is it AJ? Is that right?
Yeah, that's totally it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Galante. Quick, what was the name of his hockey team? No, I'm just I remember he had like a hockey team or something. Isn't that why he was famous? I don't know. We're getting too deep into this. The consigliere, we see Tony D and his catchphrase back in the day, Tony D, the new dawn of NXT. And look at this young Italian stallion baby face here. Remember the old days? Tony D, he didn't have any family. He just sat alone and ate pasta.
I actually quite liked all three of these videos throughout the night to build up this match. It was stupid, but as you say, like we had this before, building up to the end of Chase U, where it just had a montage of all the stupid shit we've watched over the years. And I somewhat feel nostalgic watching this, like the early days of Tony D before he brings the family in and all that. I thought they built up this triple threat quite nicely throughout the show.
I think so too. I enjoyed seeing the flashbacks of the stuff that we've gone through, which made me think it's the end of an era of the family. We have our next match. It's Mike Santana, Trick Williams, and Joe Hendry. These three will meet in a triple threat at Slammiversary for the NXT Championship. But tonight, will they coexist as a 6-man tag match against DarkState? Now, the members in this match are Dion Lennox, Osiris Griffin, Saquon Sugars. I did that off the top of my head. See, I can do things too. Look at this. Wrestlers they name check on the show that I'm remembering. They're getting better, at least reminding me on who is who. So that's pretty good for when it comes to new characters. But so we have these this match kicks off. We had Mike hitting his tope right away as the match, even before it starts, taking all of DarkState out as they all start to brawl. We got Trick Williams in there with Saquon Sugars. They're going back and forth when Osiris tags himself in and Mike tags himself in and he hits this power slam on Santana. But then he comes back with the double cutter to Lennox and Osiris. This is where there's Saquon gets taken out by Hendry with this like huge like side slam. It looked pretty cool. All of them start to brawl. Trick gets in the face of Santana and Joe. And this is where they start to break down and beat up on Trick, their own tag team partner. And then it's kind of like a stare down with the DarkState when not shock the system, but fuck the system. What is their mute? Anyways, the system show up. The system show up and they attack DarkState and they say that the system is a TNA dynasty, as it's a big brawl and a pull apart with the system. And I don't know. Was that one of the Major Brothers in there? Who was that? That wasn't Zack Ryder. That's the
you got Brian Myers.
So I imagine at Slammiversary, it's DarkState versus the system. Is the Moose in the system?
Moose is in the system. Eddie Edwards, your favorite, Alicia Edwards, I believe.
She didn't show up though.
No. I believe the system. DarkState had attacked the system on TNA. This whole episode did feel a little bit like a Slammiversary go home show. Them doing this angle, like none of the people in the system particularly excite me. So can't say it's a match I'm particularly interested in. Maybe checking out. But we were saying last week, I think the thing that's been missing with DarkState is they've been just talking too much nonsense backstage and not doing enough wrestling. I actually quite enjoyed the match. I thought like having someone like a Santana in there who works at such a frantic pace, it did. I thought this had like a fun, chaotic pace to it the whole time. And, both Hendry and Santana doing their leaps over the top. They're quite big guys in DarkState and they can move. I do think it's sort of the bloom is off the rose. Like I wish we had just more of these 6-man tags every week to establish them and just get them better, because they've been somewhat entertaining. Just as soon as I see that little video package or them talking backstage, it just takes me out of it with them.
Yeah, it's also so like, are you Retribution? Are you the Shield? Are you Solomon Crow? Like what hacker thing? Because they did it on the Bash where it interrupted Zaruka's promo as well.
That's
so it's
right,
like,
yeah.
Okay, you're just basically doing some copy pasta there. But I don't know. I'm looking at the Slammiversary card and they're not scheduled on it, but they could easily be added or elsewise. We'll do our preview and predictions for Slammiversary at the end of the show. Don't worry. Go home edition for that's what it feels like. This episode is like, hey, you remember this is NXT NA. This is what this episode really feels like, and it's kind of felt like that in a little while, where it's like, wait, what am I? NXT NA Evolve is really what this show is.
Let's fucking go.
So we go from that match is, I guess, thrown out. I guess there really wasn't a winner, I guess, so to speak. But we see Callie Armstrong, the Evolve champion, who interrupts Ariana and Karmen backstage as they were talking about how they can't wait to be on a future Evolution show. And this is earlier today when kind of Callie and Karmen getting a little bit of an argument about, like, you know, where they are and how Callie's already a champion. So Karmen challenges her to a match, and Callie says, yeah, go talk to Ava and get it done. So Karmen versus Callie later tonight for the Evolve Women's Championship. That's right. Lots of titles on this show. We go to part 2. Enter the Underboss. We see the introduction of Stacks, and only the introduction of Stacks. He was brought in just by himself, no one else. He didn't have anyone on his left or right. I love the
so weird though. It's like, you own the footage. You are perfectly allowed to show 2 dimes.
They cut him out.
He ended up killing his brother, didn't he? He threw him in the back of a car and
Yeah. Unfortunately, 2 dimes didn't make the cut, but Tony with a gun showed up in this video. If you remember, like the one time they let Tony use a gun, that was probably a fail.
So I'm watching this with our friend Graham, and it's showing, like, was it on this video or one of the videos of Tony being in prison? And he's like, wait, Tony went to prison? Like, yeah. It's like, what did he do? He's like, he killed someone. That
was like season 5, bro. Yeah. Come on.
Like, how did he get out?
The writer's strike.
I think Stacks. I can't remember.
Bro, we've been through the trenches.
Wow, yeah,
we have. Trenches of NXT. Okay, so let me get this straight. 2 dimes. Cole Carter was murdered, or FBI, CIA, like, what is it when they fake your death and they move you somewhere else?
Oh, like
they gave relocation program.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they changed. Cole Carter's now. He found himself a good life. He finally is attending a good university, except he's just partying a little too hard lately. In that frat house. Think about it. 2 dimes is in the frat house over on AEW, and it's cool that he's still doing his thing. But the underboss, Channing Stacks Lorenzo. Look at this young pup here they show from the first time ever. They show him how him and Tony have been boys, and said from the big house to the big time. When I got locked up, he handled the business. And they went on to be 2-time NXT Tag Team Champions. I laughed so hard at the shot of Tony. It's like Ocean's 11, right? Stacks, Brad Pitt waiting for George Clooney outside of jail.
Yeah,
that stuff. We'll get more of that later, and the 3-way match later tonight. But Evolve, not Evolution. You're just evolving. They're not quite at the Evolution yet. Callie Armstrong versus Karmen Petrovic for the Evolve Women's Championship. These two are about to start to fight when Jordynne Grace shows up in the parking lot, and she's like, nah, fuck that shit. I'm pissed. So she goes into the ring and just attacks these two. And that's when she's yelling for Blake Monroe when a video plays and the music plays, there's graphics, and Jordynne is beyond pissed. And it says, next week, NXT is in Houston, Texas, and that Blake Monroe will grace us with her presence, and says that she invites Jordynne Grace to watch her singles debut match on NXT TV. And this is where Grace gets furious and then attacks Stevie Turner's in the ring. She shoves her, and then she attacks Robert Stone. Poor Mr. Stone. Then Ava comes now. Apparently. Sorry, Bob Stone.
Yeah.
Right. And Ava with her jobber cops, and Jordynne basically is like yelling and going on a tear. So next week, it's not Jordynne versus Blake, but Blake will be in action, and Jordynne is invited to watch. So
this didn't, like, I mean, Jordynne obviously looks like a badass when she's destroying everyone, and especially kind of taking out the men as well. I didn't like that we had back-to-back non-finishes. especially when it's, trying to maybe establish like your Evolve Women's Championship and getting Karmen some reps or whatever. It was a bit shitty for the babyface to do. Like, these are like two baby faces she's interfering in the match with, and they're two like up and comers who are seizing an opportunity. It's not like she's storming. Like, if she stormed a Lexis King match, you'd be like, fuck yeah, like, just interfered and took him out. Like, it would be an ultimate
face move,
right? But like this, you're like, Jordan, that's just a bit of a dick move, and you've just seen a non-finish in the match before.
I thought it was weird that she did that. Yeah, I think if we go to Callie versus Jordan, maybe that's the move to get to that, like next week or in a week or so or whatever. But yeah, it's totally kind of healing her up because these are two like young talent, and it's for the Evolve Championship, and we don't know that much about Callie yet. So yeah, kind of weird that they would do this, but we will see where it leads to. I imagine Jordan versus Blake will be happening one-on-one soon. I just think it's weird, again, that we already dissected it, but that you would go this way with Blake right away, or how they got there, because now it's kind of like, this was kind of a lazy way to get to this. But I think Jordan Grace's NXT Women's Championship, we kind of need that. I want that now, and we didn't. But we see Team Undertaker from LFG. Undertaker's not here; it's just his crew from the show. And they're talking about how next week NXT is in Houston in Undertaker's backyard. And one of them says, dude, that is going to be pretty sick. When Trick Williams walks by and says, move, get out of my way. And they kind of give him a look, and he goes, oh, you feeling froggy? Then jump. And this is when he kind of bashes the Undertaker. Like, I don't know why you listen to Undertaker, or Undertaker this, Undertaker that. When one of their phone rings, and it's American Badass by Kid Rock, as the Undertaker's cell phone call is this guy's, like,
he answers just before the radio edit as well, right?
Right. Radio edit. Trick walks off, and basically, I am assuming the Undertaker tells them that he's going to show up next week at NXT. And he is announced for NXT next week. Trick Williams and the Undertaker in the ring together, because the Undertaker not only called this guy to let them know, but he also, are you ready? The Undertaker also posted on Twitter, hey, Trick Williams, I don't like how you're disrespecting my crew, so I'm going to show up next week. Don't forget, stay out of my yard. Right.
I can't believe it's already season 2 of this show of LFG.
That's not.
You've been saying this for a while, but I felt this show in particular, there was way too much going on from all the different things. I get that you want to try and promote your other shows, your Evolves, your LFGs, and I get like that the pipeline is eventually coming through to NXT. We've seen it in the past when, an NXT UK talent would come over, but it felt so much on this show because they were, as we said, it felt like a TNA Slammiversary Go Home show. There was a lot pushing for that, for different, like we had the system stuff, we had the TNA Championship, we had the Women's Championship, and then throwing in an Evolve match and then this LFG stuff. It's too much. And I think I don't think it's terrible, the integration. I like a bit of cross-promotion, cross-integration, but you can't have this much on one show. You need to be a bit more sparing with it. And especially when you're going to a scene with these people trying to fucking act. Oh, that sounds sick. Like it was...
Dude,
sick. Bad. Dude, oh, that sounds sick. It was pretty awful.
Yeah, I'm so beyond sick of this messiness of like, okay, LFG, Evolve, TNA. It's like, yo, I don't watch all this shit already. Like, you're not making me want to with some of the stuff you're promoting. Like, I don't want to watch these people. I don't want to watch whatever TNA's advert. I don't want to watch that. The system, like, man, it's too much. It's way over the top, and it's muddying whatever NXT even is at this point. Because if NXT is your developmental, is it developmental for everything going on? Like, what even is this show anymore? It's a mess. It's not entertaining. And even someone as to us, we watch the show week by week. We shouldn't be going like, well, then why are we like, I know it's not rocket science, but it's also like, what? Think of any other show that's like NCIS. Well, we're also going to promote 911 Houston, but on that show, we got to make sure we promote Dr. Death or the Murder Cruise or like Love Boat, or it's like, dude, fucking calm down.
They did a much better job when I think they did a much better job when like Level Up was a thing. You know, when you'd have a Dante Chen just come in for a squash match here and there, and he'd come in every now and then, so you'd know who he is, and then people that watch Level Up see them a bit more. But it wasn't like, I know you want to get these people on this show. You want to eventually get your evolved talent, the people that you see prospects in coming into NXT, because the idea is eventually all these programs are to find the next star, right? Who is going to be main eventing your WrestleManias down the line or whatever. But you can't, this feels very first few weeks of 2.0 when they just threw all these new names at us that we're supposed to know who they are. And we're like, whoa, slow down, one at a time here.
Yeah.
I think there's better ways to do it. I think some integration is great. Like I like whenever there's some integration with Raw and SmackDown and that, like, you are all the same company. And I've been calling for, like, you know, do some sort of tournament. Like you mentioned the Mae Young Classic, like doing something like that with all your different brands. That's awesome. But it was just too much like backstage shit and matches and things. And it's not,
it's not even like, oh shit, this guy's from LFG. Now he's in the match. Now he's here. Here he is in a match. It's not even that. It's like, yeah, here are all these people that you have to remember who all these 4 people are at the same time. Same with like the Evolve people, the TNA stuff. It's like WWE fans don't necessarily watch a lot of the other stuff. Now it's a cool way to get them to watch. Obviously you own LFG, you own Evolve. You want people to watch these shows, but it's all a little bit too, you're asking a whole lot all at once. We're like, you're already insane if you watch NXT. I watch this show. I'm crazy because I watch this show, but this is like too crazy for me. Like, you're making me want to, you're really trying these things. And I get that, but I don't know, there's gotta be a better way than just throwing shit at the wall, throwing it onto, okay, now we gotta have the LFG. It's like, yo, calm down, slow down a little bit, focus on some things, and then cut and move. But it's just a little too crazy with this. So then what are they pulling the alarm? Oh, we need Undertaker on NXT again. So we're going to Houston, which is cool. They've announced that a little while ago, but tricking Undertaker. You know, Undertaker really wants to defend the honor of LFG and the TNA championship. Oh, I guess maybe he won't have it by Tuesday.
Maybe not.
Possibly. That's how you could get Undertaker the TNA championship if he takes it from Trick. Anyway, so Undertaker on NXT in a segment with Trick Williams, but will he have the title on his shoulder? We go backstage. Ava is with Jasper Troy. She says, hey, man, you can't just keep attacking people. That's not how we do things here. It's exactly how we do things here. And he's kind of saying that he's angry and he doesn't care. And she says, well, next week, I'm going to give you a match. Ricky Saints versus Jasper Troy. And he says that Ricky is going to bend the knee and then I'm going to break him.
Yeah, Troy's saying like, oh, I didn't just involuntarily attack Ricky. He came into my space and that's why I did it. But
nitpicking, but did you watch when that segment happened in that match? It's almost like they cut to him too soon. So he like covered his face. Did you notice?
I didn't know.
He was like, oh, wait, it's not this part yet. And he's like, wait, don't look at me. Okay, wait, now you can look at me. Anyways, why are you in my space? So we have that match announced for it next week in Houston. But we go to part 3, the rise and fall of the family. So Tony, Stacks, they've been good on a 2-man trip, 2-time champs, but we see them now. They've got Rizzo. Now they've got a lawyer, Luca Crusifino. We see all the family together, the highs and the lows of. We didn't get enough clips of the family on the boat with Santos. I know we got some clips of Santos, but we didn't get enough of how the business. We didn't get enough of how the business went up 14%.
Right.
They're really leaving that part out. That's probably how they laundered money. So we see eventually the rise and then the fall where the family falls apart and Stacks turns on Tony. And now the dissension of the D'Angelo family. And this match will be the final ride of the D'Angelo family. Why is it always everyone's last ride or final ride? Like Undertaker, he literally called his move the last ride, so I get it. But Goldberg trying to sell that shirt in the last 2 weeks, which was pretty sad, which was like Goldberg's last ride. It's like, is it just everyone's last ride? Like,
yeah,
I know it's a saying, but like, there's no other way. Like, what would be a clever way to say the family, like ending the last ride of the family, the last reunion, the last get together? I don't know. Just like, I'm tired of that's the only thing that could be the last show, the last, what was Sting's? The last something, the last supper. Anyways, recap of Lash Legend losing in the Battle Royal, but she's being interviewed here. And she says that she stole the show in the Battle Royal at Evolution. And she threw out many future WWE legends when Jada Parker comes in and says that she made a bigger impression. She's kind of doing the Miss Parker. And she says, yeah, you may have had been last eliminated, but everyone knows that I made the bigger impression because the crowd kept chanting my name and that I threw out a future Hall of Famer, Natalya. Oh, wow. She threw out Natalya. She says that they'll remember me more than they do you. And this kind of pisses off Lash. And I'm not sure if this is announced for next week, but I am sure that we're going to be going
I'd imagine so, yeah.
Yeah. Which they did. They were chanting her name. I thought both of them.
They were like, yeah. I thought it was clear like that. A lot of that audience are watch NXT. They seem to know all the NXT people that came out. As you said, that Miss Parker chant was getting over. They were popping for Lash and stuff. So it was definitely a crowd that knew at Evolution.
Yeah, 100%. Well, we go to it. What was it again? The final ride of the family triple threat match: Stacks
family
versus
business.
Luca versus Tony D'Angelo. Triple threat and the fate of the family here, if you will. Fate of the Furious. Stacks got some epic guitar music come out. Luca comes out in basically Tony's song, but then Tony comes out too with his own music. I thought Luca was wearing Two-Face's gear. Not quite Tommy Lee Jones from Batman Forever, but like down the middle, it was like two different gears. So he could be a Two-Face here.
Gotcha.
Essentially. I thought that's where it was going to lead to. Early in the match, Stacks goes to grab the crowbar that he hides in between the steps, but he can't find it. And Tony says, come on, I know you more than you know yourself. And basically, I guess Tony made sure to remove the crowbar. Luca comes back on top of both of them and hits them with a double DDT as we go to picture-in-picture. This is where Booker T is going off on all sorts of stuff that has nothing to do with the match. There's a double flying like leg drop kick from Stacks. This looked very nice, actually, but it's only a 2 count. When we come back, there's a nice-looking triple submission where all three of them are wrenching on each other, holding each other down. This was very retro ECW three-way dance kind of stuff here. We get the crowd are getting definitely into this as well here at the PC. Stacks eventually gets thrown out of the ring like they used to do as their combo. Stacks comes back in and he keeps trying to keep Tony down. And there's a double German eventually where Tony like throws both of them.
Very impressive.
They go up. Yeah, very nice. They go up top. There's like a superplex powerbomb belly to belly kind of move here where Luca is powerbombing Tony while he belly to bellies Stacks. Also very nice. Booker T says that Luca is an accountant, and Vic says that, well, actually, he's a lawyer here. And Booker takes a second and goes, yeah, well, well, lawyers are accountants too. So how about that? And Vic's like, all right then. The family hit the shatter machine on Tony, callback there, but eventually Luca gets thrown out. Stacks goes to pin Tony, but he kicks out of it. Tony then spears Stacks through the perch. That's right. The bottom of the perch, the fake wall that's never there. He gets speared through that and gets thrown back out. Vic Joseph with he looks like DJ Jazzy Jeff line, which I thought was great. There's then a spine buster to Luca through the desk, gets Stacks in the ring and spine busters him. Tony D'Angelo standing tall on family business here in NXT and wins the fate of the family. And Tony D proves that sometimes you don't need your family. All right. You don't need them. You can be on your own and everything's going to be all right. I thought this was awesome. Best match of the show by far and best part of the show. We've been talking weeks of how stupid and silly and how just the mafia characters maybe and the family has run its course. but I thought all went out there and had a quite a little fun match here.
Oh yeah, I thought they all showed up in this. I loved some of the like callbacks. I really like that Shadow Machine spot because Luca Crusifino kind of had this look as if like, oh, I didn't mean to do that, but it's just, you know, it's muscle memory from them being a tag team. Some really cool triple spots. I love that submission. That double German suplex was impressive, and just really fun finish with the spear through the perch. The table actually breaking with that one-handed spine buster.
Yeah.
I thought this was really entertaining. And then I noticed at the end, commentary are basically saying that the Don is no more and now he is a man. And he leaves his hat, his fedora on the ring post, and Tony takes like one last look at it before walking away. So getting the impression that, like, I mean, I think Tony might be moving up pretty soon, but it seems like this is the end of this kind of mafia thing. All of them are going to go their own way, and actually a pretty nice way to finish it if this is it. But definitely we're getting some evolution coming out of this, pardon the pun, with the event. But yeah, it seems something's going to change with Tony coming out of this.
Yeah, we've said it. Like, I think the best way is to go forward with him as a solo act on the main roster. And that's not saying that you could ever go back to him having this family in the stable, but I think it's proved that this guy has been doing this gimmick for so long in NXT. But I think you got to like sink or swim, and you got to try it on the main roster. As much as people groaned when it first debuted, eventually people came around to it and just, you know, again, NXT known for beating us into submissions for many, many things. And I think a Tony D'Angelo Raw after SummerSlam or a SummerSlam appearance in New Jersey could be a great way to really set him off as a character. Like the family, the whole act could have gone up because they're pretty decent, but I think it's time for him to make some moves. And I would like to see him mixed in with the main roster. Like, why not? I think there is room for that character specifically, so go for it. This was pretty good. He's stepped up wrestling wise. Like, we were pretty iffy with him, you know. Right away we saw him wrestle, throwing some half shoots and some full Nelsons. We were like, oh, whoa, Italian Kurt Angle. And then he's had some ups and downs, but I think it's time. Like, try it out on the main roster, and bada boom, bada bing.
Yeah, I think all three are pretty decent in ring. Luca is the one maybe a bit more unproven. We haven't seen quite as much of him, but I don't think he ever looks bad in there. And I thought all three worked a really fun match. I think this could be it for Tony D'Angelo. Like, it's almost like leaving your boots in the ring, isn't it? With the hat there. And I wonder if that's the end of him on NXT. But as well, I'd have put this as the main event. I was a little surprised that this didn't close the show. But I felt this had the most sort of story going into it. If it is the last time Tony's there, it should be. And the way you build it up through the show with the video packages, I think this should have closed.
Yeah, leave the boots, leave the hat, take the cannoli is what he did here in NXT. Coming to the main roster soon. There's a draft soon. Maybe gets called up. I would do it. Why not? You know, they got to do some NXT Italy or WWE Italy.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Santino Marella, he could be part of the Nunzio again, you know. I don't know. I think there's room for a mafioso character on the main roster. So let's go. Put him on the TV and see what happens, I think. So I was pleasantly surprised. Again, probably my highlight of this episode of NXT was how much these three wanted to kick each other's asses. You could see it. They're boys, right? Like, they've been working together for the past while. You know, they wanted to go out there and put on something to be proud of, and I think they should be proud of it. It was a lot of fun. But you know why they did so well? Because this should have been on the fucking PLE instead of, I don't know, a
more people
TNA contract signing.
To be honest, like
yeah, fair, yeah, fair. Anyways, we get a recap of Charlie Dempsey, the No Quarter Catch Crew, how Tavion Heights got the towel thrown in from Ren Sinclair. We see today he's mad. I guess he hasn't talked to Ren all week since. Hey, why'd you throw in the towel? You cost me the match. When Charlie walks in and he's like, oh no, please go on. And he's kind of angry at Charlie. And Ren says, you know what? How about next week we got to focus on me instead of you two, because I have a match with Blake Monroe next week in Houston. So please, I need you in my corner. So they're going to be on the same page. And then she reminds Charlie that, by the way, I don't want to leave No Quarter Catch crew. So she still has hope in the crew.
That's setting up for something, right? I'm never going to leave you. Yeah, we'll see.
Right.
I'm glad Ren's getting...
All the teams are breaking up.
We like Ren here, so we'll get Ren and Monroe next week.
Ren XT. Yeah. All the families, all the people we love together, all good things come to an end. We see Briggs. He's walking out. He's got something to say after the commercial break. He'll be in the middle of the ring with a microphone. When we come back, he's in the ring. He's got a mic, and he says, I would have done everything to make sure that Inamura left with that title. I would have done everything. And this is where the crowd are just booing Josh Briggs here. They're letting him have it.
Yeah.
PC in Florida do not like Josh Briggs. But he powers through. He says, I've been here for years, and I haven't even sniffed an NXT championship match. But Inamura, he gets one so quick. Well, Inamura is just too nice, and he's got to learn that this is a cutthroat business. You know, with the crowd booing like this and him saying that, I was second guessing him. I was like, did I miss something? Did he murder this guy?
I was thinking because I was trying to I
was like, oh my God, did I miss
something before NXT today? I was skipping through commercials and things. So I watched the match and then skipped forward to the next one. And I'm like, did Briggs kill him at the end of this match?
Yeah. It maybe just the way what he was saying and mixed with just the heavy booze.
It was more
dude.
It was more he was angry that Inamura didn't
Yeah.
capitalize. He's like, he should be standing here NXT champion, but he's not because he was weak. I laid it all out for him to win this, and he didn't.
He had the opportunity. I gave it to him, and he still couldn't do it. This is when Oba Femi comes out. Shout out The Walk. He says basically, look, I was going to win that match anyways, but you ruined the match. You made it weird. You made people question my validity. And trust me, Briggs, he doesn't have what it takes, and neither do you. And this is when Inamura comes out and says, Briggs, you don't speak for me. You don't speak for me. And if I do win the title, I do it with honor, my way. And this is when I think it's Briggs who says, how about you put the title on the line against both of us in a triple threat? And Oba says, well, if this is what you want, and Briggs punches him, they all start to brawl, and it is official next week. Triple threat. I know Oba said he was done with triple threats, but you can't say no to a three-way. So next week in Houston, Oba, Inamura, Briggs, NXT Championship. I was a little surprised and taken aback. I kind of thought maybe this was the direction for the Heat Wave main event, considering the three hosses, but we're getting it even earlier. And yeah, I'm very, NXT isn't doing a whole lot lately for me, but dare I say, this sounds great. This sounds like it could be some heavy hitting meat, no bread, just water, what Booker T says he loves, and we all do. So I'm definitely looking forward to this one.
We had that, what was it? Stand and Deliver. It was Briggs, Oba, and Dijak, wasn't it? And that was awesome.
Yeah.
I expect really high things from this. I'm wondering, does Briggs is he just going to lie down and be like, Inamura, pin me? Like, are we going to get stuff like that? And Inamura's like, no, I have honor. Honor. Heatwave is
Forbidden Door.
Forbidden Door, right? So we've still got a month or so to get there, right?
Yeah.
So we got a bit of time. So I'm sure we'll probably get Briggs versus Inamura at that event. I can't see a potential Oba opponent that's clear right now, but I'm excited. I think this sounds great. This hopefully they get time, and this should absolutely kill. These three guys are gonna absolutely should put on a good match next week.
Yeah, we're always ragging on the men's division lately in the last year or so with some of the wrestling and the hard hitting, and Oba, he's such a great big man and has good matches with the right opponent. And I think these two are the perfect opponent because they'll be able to do all the multiple man things that we've seen. They've really perfected these kinds of matches. So low key think this will be a banger. Put this
Absolutely.
on your to watch match. I think we would both agree that we'll probably be praising this match after we watch it. So looking forward to this one next week in Houston in NXT. And hey, if you're going, would love live perspective or anything. I know we were just in Texas. I didn't realize. Too bad it wasn't this week. We could have maybe tried to go there or something. But pretty cool that they're making moves on the road. But we go from that segment to the Canadian national anthem. I was surprised to hear this as we hear "Oh Canada" play, and Ethan Page appears on the screen and says that Canada just celebrated its independence. Yes, 15 days ago from the British. And that also July 4th, meaning America turned 249 years old. So it's time for a celebration because I am the North American champion and I retained. And I'm not celebrating tonight, but I'm going to celebrate in the heart of USA in Houston, Texas. God bless each and every one of you. So next week, Ethan Page in Houston with the celebration. I thought this was a pretty funny video, actually. I love anytime. God, I love saying that to people in the condescending. You know, when people say, hey, buddy, or God bless you. It's just one of the more funny things. I don't ever actually mean it, but I neither did Ethan Page here. So I am really liking Ethan Page in this heel run. And I'm kind of shocked they didn't have him lose this title because he should be doing this on WWE, like Raw or SmackDown. I think this character that he's working on, that he's kind of perfected in the last few months, I think this would be just so good. Like people would eat this. I think he's doing really good stuff now. It's really clicking for me.
Yeah, I hope he doesn't go too comedic with it. Like we've seen the like USA, like Chelsea Green has just done it on the main roster. I hope it doesn't get too comedic. I enjoyed it. I think he's a great performer, but I've enjoyed the serious side he's shown more recently. So I hope he can keep the humor with the like seriousness as well, and not go to, you know, when he was just getting rolled up and stuff like that and was a bit of a comedy act.
Like, where do we go with him? Who's his challenger? Who's interrupting? Is it like back to Sean Legacy? We haven't seen him in a little while, but he was kind of floating in there. Like, who else? Javon, not again, but someone like the USA Canada thing, right? Like
maybe it's a way to get in one of your luchadors as well, because Mexico is also in North America, and here Ethan Page is very much singing the praises of America, of the USA and Canada. So that could be like, you know, whether you one of your AAA guys, or whether you bring down a Dragon Lee or whatever. I'm not sure. You saying Canada Day 15 days ago, I was fully expecting him to be like setting up a Canada Day celebration for next week, because that is so WWE, isn't it? We have Vengeance Day like 2 weeks after Valentine's Day. Halloween Havoc is like before Halloween. It's all that weird stuff. So I was going, oh, are you going to do a whole Canada celebration next week? But yeah, I enjoyed this video. I thought it was pretty fun.
I've really been liking what it's finally clicking. Like he was always a standout on whatever indie he was part of and his own and stuff. But I thought that his first run in NXT was a little hit and miss, but now he's really coming into his own. Like, whereas this kind of stuff would work right now with the Canada US, like there's room for a heel pro Canada kind of thing right now in wrestling, and he could maybe maneuver it in. I was assuming like Don Callis and Josh Alexander would maybe try to do that kind of thing, but I think it could work with Ethan Page. But I like the fact that he's wearing US and Canada, so he's realizing like both these countries are just great, but also have their flaws. Love Ethan Page. We go to Ricky Starks backstage. He's a little upset. He's asked about his match with Jasper Troy next week, and he says that I came to NXT and I told everyone that I would be the man, but Ethan retained, and well, it's all because of Jasper Troy. And see, Jasper, I'm not even that mad at you. It was just the wrong place, but you picked the wrong guy, and you picked me. And next week, I'm going to show that your inexperience is going to cost you in Houston. So Jasper versus Ricky next week. Is Ricky someone you could heat up for Obafemi at Heatwave, even though he lost against Ethan Page? Would you go that route right away?
I think an issue I have is Obafemi is a bit too much of a tweener in this role, and therefore I can't get behind a Ricky Saints or a Javon Evans dethroning him, because Oba's pretty cool and he's not really done anything to deserve being dethroned, if you know what I mean. Like it's almost like when Hank and Tank beat Fraxium. It's like, yeah, like that was good, but I love Fraxium, so why? So I think you should think about trying to turn over as an actual proper heel when you're getting towards the end of his reign. So then you could have a Javon or you could have a Ricky Saints, but
I don't think you should do it either. I'm just like, who else? What else is our Heat Wave main event, and what else is Ricky doing? What else is like Ethan Page? Someone's got to interrupt him. Is he done with Ethan Page? Are we going to go back to Ricky? Not quite sure, but we go from that. So that match is next week. This is where they told us Undertaker was on Twitter. This wasn't as bad because ever since Mean Mark, Undertaker's been doing his own podcast and stuff. Like, he's broken the character. But I'll remind you of a time when before Undertaker ever broke character. And what did he do? Text Kane one time at like a Raw in London or something. Kane was like, "Oh yeah, Undertaker just texted me and he's going to be in my corner." It was like, wait a second. You're telling me the zombie wrestler knows how to text? Nah, that's just too unbelievable. I can't watch it. It's garbage. Too unbelievable. The dead guy texts? Wait a second. Unbelievable entertainment. Anyways, he's going to be on NXT next week with his LFG people. And we'll also have that triple threat. But here we get moments ago where Briggs and Inamura almost getting a bit of a scuffle, and there was a bit of a pull apart here. So they're kind of showing some tension between the former friends. We see Sol Ruca and Masha and ZARIA getting ready for their match backstage when the Culling are watching. And as they go all leave for their match, they find Tatum on the floor, and Tatum's like, "Oh, I have an idea." And Izzy says, "Oh, she has an idea." So
they're also like, Tatum is really sad for losing the match over the weekend, and Izzy's like, "Oh no, don't worry about that," which is interesting because they kicked out Brooks for being the weak link and all that, but they're like, "Oh, you don't need to worry. Wins and losses happen."
That's right. We go to our main event, but before we do, they point out that Lexis King is sitting in the crowd here in the PC wearing soundproof headphones. When you go to like a loud concert or a racetrack or something, and he's like, "Oh, I can't hear anything." And he's like talking to himself because he wants to feel what it's like to be Miles Bourne, because Miles Bourne says, "You've never walked a mile in my shoes." So Ava comes out and starts yelling at him and is like, "Yo, that's kind of offensive. What you're doing." Like, the jokes are cool when the deaf guy makes them, not so much when you pretend you're deaf and be like, "Oh, I can't hear you." Oh, it's like,
he's trying to walk a day in his shoes, I guess.
It reminds me, I have asthma, and I did a science project in grade 3, and my science project had to be on like diseases or things that people have and stuff like that. So I have asthma. So I did one on asthma. And what my project was? I brought in straws and I said, "Everyone breathe through this straw for like a few minutes." And that's what it's like to have asthma. And my teacher gave me an A+.
Nice.
So maybe Lexis King isn't trying to be offensive. He's just trying to, see what it's like or hear what it's like. He's trying to be offensive, isn't he? But see, this could have been where you said it earlier. This is where Jordan Grace could have been and been like, "Yo, dude, get the fuck out of here." And like, kick him out of the curb. And the crowd would have reacted like, "Yeah, you got rid of the asshole." But instead, anyways. So the main event, Fatal Influence. It's JC Jane, Fallon Henley, and Jasmine Nix taking on TNA Knockout Champion Masha Slamovich and ZARIA and Sol Ruca. JC and Masha are going at it here, and Masha's kind of getting the best of JC ahead of their match this Sunday, but Sol tags in and starts to get the best of her as well. She starts surfboarding on JC, which really pisses her off, but eventually Fallon hits the 619 around the ring post and then starts to mock the surfing of her own with a bit of a yeehaw, a little bit of a Whoopa Gundam style kind of thing. They go to picture in picture. When we come back, Nix is in there hitting some beautiful suplexes, like a fisherman Northern Lights bridge, almost as good as Alicia Fox. Dare I say, maybe even better.
Wow.
Multiple suplexes here, and then a great Muda lock, which was very nice. I think Jasmine Nix has been shooting in the gym. She's been definitely improving. ZARIA comes in with a hot tag and starts taking all of them out. Zaria's in there with a German suplexes, and then Masha's in with a spinning heel kick to JC. JC fires, though, with her JC Jane V-trigger type thing. This is when all the ladies are going at it, but ZARIA spears Nix just out of her boots almost here with this huge spear. She does a great one. And this is where Izzy Dame and Tatum Paxley come out, and they start to get involved. This is when Ruca take them out with double topes off the apron here, and they start to brawl when Hank and Tank come out to start to brawl with Nico and Sean Spears. So everyone's left here, leaving Masha alone in the ring with JC Jane, and hits her with the Northern Lights bomb. And the TNA Women's Champ pins the NXT Women's Champ ahead of Slammiversary this weekend, as Masha Slamovich stands tall as NXT goes off the air.
Yeah, I thought a pretty fun match. I saw some improvement in Jasmine Nix in this. I did actually really enjoy when she hit her Nix kick, because she's positioned as the weak link in the group. You've got the two veterans, and she's the new one, the up-and-comer they're trying to bring up. But in the promo earlier, JC kind of dressing them both down a bit, and, Jasmine, you messed up and all that. So I liked here when she hits her Nix kick that she was like celebrating, like, look what I did something, and then turns right into the spear from ZARIA. I thought the timing there was pretty fun. Masha looked great, like she's awesome, looked good in there. Would love to see her have like a singles match with Fallon as well down the line. But I'm sticking with my guns. I think JC's winning this, especially with Masha winning on the go home show. We've watched wrestling before. We know how it goes.
Well, they got to switch it up, though. I think the same thing happened with Hangman on the Wednesday going into the pay-per-view for All In. Everyone's like, wait a second, Hangman stood tall. Wrestling tells us that means he should lose. But you're probably totally right. I think it would just be a little bit more interesting if Masha won. But I can't even argue that. Why should it be Masha? Because she really hasn't been explained who she really is on this show. And if you kind of don't know her, well, you've seen her wrestle today and like it was pretty good, but not enough to be like, oh, she should be NXT champ. So I do think NXT has taken another title from TNA. So that was NXT. I didn't mind the main event match. I said I think Jasmine Nix really has stepped up. We always love Fallon. JC has really stepped up in this position, and I love Ruca and Masha. We've seen wrestle. I've seen some really good stuff from her in GCW and Bloodsport and stuff. So yeah, I can't say I'll be rushing to check out Slammiversary, but maybe before upNXT next week, I'll have to cherry pick to see or at least see results and see what people are saying and everything, because it does involve some implications involving the women's championship. So we could have TNA stealing a title from us, but I don't think it's going to happen.
We will see. Yes, I might.
So yeah,
wait, is it? It's Saturday or Sunday? Is it?
I think it's Sunday.
Great
I'll
promotion they did for it. Didn't tell us where to watch it or anything on this show. Just
they probably did. I
don't think so. Dedicated a whole episode to TNA and just.
That's what I
just like. It is.
Yeah, I don't like how this is like. Hey, well, I don't know. I don't know. It's not necessarily working for me. I'm sure maybe some people are enjoying it. And hey, whoa, TNA and WWE crossover, but it's not hitting maybe the way we all thought it would. It is this Sunday in Elmont, New York, UBS Arena. So I heard they sold well. So like this does have some people. It's also got Ali versus Cedric on the show, Tessa versus Indy Hartwell, Masha versus JC, and then the triple threat Trick, Joe, and Mike in the main event and some other stuff. So yeah, Slammiversary this weekend. Highlight of this episode was definitely the triple threat with the family. Everything else, I like the stuff, I guess, with Inamura and Briggs and Oba. I can honestly say I'm looking forward to that match. That will make, no matter what else they throw at me with Trick and The Undertaker in one segment, who's going to have the better pants in that segment? the better boots, Trick or well, maybe Undertaker will borrow the Godfather's pants to match whatever Trick usually wears, right? Yeah. So thumbs in the middle NXT. There was some good stuff to keep me, but there was some stuff that I could maybe do without. But what about you?
Yeah, there was just a little too much going on for me this week. I really enjoyed the triple threat match. I thought that was great, and I thought the main event was pretty fun. We see some direction. I'm excited by the kind of Briggs stuff that they're doing right now, but wasn't my favorite episode for sure. It's always difficult, like watching a show like we did on Saturday with All In. Seeing something like that, and even seeing something like Evolution, and then coming back to try and get enthused about this again. But there was still some good stuff. Shout out the family.
Shout out the family. We got one piece of feedback. I'm going to steal it from you and read it here from Megan, who writes in our Facebook group. Join Poison Rana group, like the page, all that fun stuff. Megan writes in, the D'Angelo family melodrama had quite a bumpy journey, but the destination was pretty damn good. The three-way over-delivered in a ton of ways. I dug the last shot of Tony's hat on the post. Hopefully Tony, Luca, and Stax will prosper on their own. Oba's heading into another triple threat scenario. He must be rolling his eyes in Houston. Jordan's on a warpath because Blake's a snake, and the main event 6-woman tag was well done. If this is the hill I die on, then so be it. I want to see Masha get all the marbles in Long Island. TNA bent the knee to let Trick win the world title at Battleground, and that caused an uptick in their business. Masha having 2 titles would be an uptick in NXT's business throughout the summer. Perfectly balanced, I would think. Side note, fuck the system. So there you go. Magan sounding like don't shoot me on this, baby. But Magan sounded like he has some reason here. Magan sounds like he's actually right. Magan sounds like Masha. I agree. Give Masha the belt. Magan, I'm on team TNA now. Masha Slamovich should beat JC Jane and have both titles. I'll just stick with my guns.
When you've got your NXT roster, NXT is the bigger show, and it's full of the talent it has. Why would you get it? It's like, what is TNA getting out of this deal? What TNA is getting out of this deal is they're selling really well at a big arena, which they wouldn't be doing without this relationship. You know, I don't know. I just don't see. I like Masha, but you've got so many great women in NXT right now. Why would you give the belt to someone else? In my opinion,
you're also not wrong. You're also not wrong. We will see what happens. Megan says we want balance. Yes, balance in the force. Appreciate all of you out there listening. We do this every Tuesday, every Sunday. We go live this Sunday, 2 p.m. on Poison Rana live on YouTube. Hang out with us on Tuesday. We're going to talk all about Dynamite, post All In, talking all about the fallout from Evolution, plus maybe the hype for Slammiversary, all the other stuff that's going on in the world of wrestling. We're going to talk about it this Sunday live at 2 p.m. And next Tuesday night, Davey, you are away. You're making the trip to go see Oasis at Wembley. So I will be joined by B. Detroit and Jordan Goodman from our respective shows here at Poison Rana. So tune in next Tuesday after NXT, 10:05 p.m. I will be here as we run down some NXT, and maybe we'll have some new champions, and maybe we won't, but appreciate you guys as always. Again, Poisonrana.ca for links of everything. Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky, Facebook, whatever podcast app, YouTube, search Poison Rana. And again, check out all of the interviews that we've done from this past weekend, including all the AEW stars, our All in Texas podcast review, and all the Snap Ranas on our patreon.com/Poisonrana. $5 to get all the Snap Ranas plus best match ever, Goldberg, plus JFK review, and so much more. And I really mean this. It's always fun going to these events in person and traveling the world and running into listeners and longtime listeners and friends and all that kind of stuff. So appreciate everyone out there as always, and hope you're having a good summer. All right.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, that's it. That's all. Take care. Goodbye and be safe.
Ahoy!